You ready, Scott? Is it recording?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ready? I'm a hockey player. That would probably be the first thing you suspected about me. Though perhaps, on second thought, it's not exactly an entirely familiar pursuit. Hockey is a smooth, violent sport played primarily in the cold, blue, silent reaches of the north, where the rapport of a puck on wood at night will carry for miles, like fire from a high-powered rifle. I had all my teeth until this time last year, at which point, at high water mark, they exploded from my gums like tiny enameled angels bursting in a rain of blood heavenward, released at last from this pit of woe, my mouth. Self-awareness theory states that when we focus on the self, we can effectively examine and compare our behaviors to those of societal norms. However, society forces us to be constantly self-aware. This excessive focus on the self can lead to an exaggerated or even biased judgment of what the self is really like. And as a result, we are left to contend between the delusions of self and the real world. Visigoths by Gary Amdel. After the teeth, I spent the summer thinking lordly thoughts. Someone told me the war was my oyster, and I took it to heart. Then I got hurt. My brain decelerated rapidly against the boards at about 100 miles an hour. My eyes rolled up into their sockets, and I collapsed in a heap. Not a week later, I dove into the boards again and separated my shoulder. You see, there was a miscue, and someone knocked me unconscious for a second time. My overlords treated it all in a light and manly way, judging it nothing to write home about. But I knew better. Ruth was my girlfriend. She came to me as an instructor of freshman composition. A poet at a technical university, she was amazed by my essay on summer vacation. She introduced me to William Blake, but withheld Rimbaud, insisting that I learn the language. Anyway, we fell with each other easily, and for a time, we amused ourselves simply by talking. Once, early on, just as you might expect, sophisticated city girl meets bumpkin musclehead, she tried to play dominatrix with me. But this backfired, not bringing on not great desire, but a terrible reflexive violence I caught and was able to turn back, only in the nick of time. She said, "I will not try that again." And I felt like someone not in control. Not of himself, or his destiny. Someone in whom it was easy to bring out the worst. 10 below and the snow is shooting horizontally past me. I mean tracks. Effectively forming a wall. Effectively forming a series of walls I'd fight my way through, making my way to Ruth's office. My boots made big, ominous noises down that plywood floor, and I thought as I plowed down the floor, "I will woo thee with my sword, Hippolyta." All the right bits were lit up in my head like Art Deco Stations of the Cross. It was a peaceful, scholarly scene. She wore her glasses. But I didn't care for it. In fact, it enraged me. You see, the last time I'd seen her, she called me an idiot. And I was still brooding over the possibility. I closed the door and fell upon her. Hands in her hair, tongue in her mouth. She pulled away, something like 5 seconds. "I'm too busy. Please, Neil." "No. Don't say that. I want to have you. I must have you. Now, while the brothers chant, here, on this desk, find a cheerleader. Cheerleader. I'm busy. Cheerleader. Busy. Just get out. Go away, Neil. Ruth, I love you. She sighed. And sometimes that's all it takes. A little sigh like that. But there you are. At your worst. You see, this is what plagues me today. What will plague me tonight. What will plague me the rest of my life because I am an idiot. Because I will not learn. Don't you ever fucking sigh at me. Get out. Without another word if you can. You like yourself better that way if you just get up, get out, shut up, and leave. To make matters worse, I walked to the arena the next day only to find the Ice-Capades people setting up shop. Ice-Capades. I watched a leggy blonde cut some leisurely figure eights. And then I heard someone call her name. Phoebe! Onto the ice shot a slender young man in a tuxedo-looking pair of tights. He raced around her, and then they soared down to the far end, he singing a bit of a Sondheim lyric. Down by the goal, which hadn't yet been removed, he capered, legs flying, voice echoing, and I was overcome by an urge to destroy him. I mean to sweep in and hack at him with my stick. Oh, I imagine the look of hurt and surprise at his face as the first blows cracked across his shins. Later, the sighing girl would cover him with her body and beg for mercy, which of course I could not grant. Not in a million years, not honorably. So I climbed over the boards and ticked along the ice and swooped down upon them. Are we in your way? What? He looked at me for a long time, neither smiling nor frowning. Perhaps at some point he'd won a bronze medal. The female lightly touched his elbow. Whew. I wanted him to hit me. But the blow I feared would be weak, and that would infuriate me. At the same time, I longed to leave these innocent people alone. What's the matter, guy? He's some kind of hockey bully? That was it. I wanted him to tell me who I was. When I didn't say anything, he began to steer the woman away, saying, "Let's go, Phoebe. Shall we?" I slipped the blade of my stick over his shoulder, hooked him, he slapped it off in a rage and spun around. I took my stick, wrapped it around his hip, yanked him to me, nose to nose. I said, "You do this for a living?" Fuck you, sport!" I dropped my stick. Even though I was the aggressor, had started it all, was guilty beyond reckoning, popped him in the solar plexus. It was my turn. You ask me who I am? We are animals here. Now we know. Show means nothing to us here. Glitter is extravagance and wasted. When the stars look down and chance to spy us, they favor the animal. Time stands still for us when we engage our enemies. You ask me who I am? I am an animal serving God and country in a way that only I can. I have the courage to be myself when I know I am lonesome. I know I am terrible and unwanted, but I am wondered at, am I not? I left. Then it was speechless, of course. The man, he couldn't get his breath back, and the woman, who could tell what she was thinking? For my part, I knew with certainty at last that I was beyond the pale. I mean, I would end in a madhouse, it was sure of it.
I could see it all. The room, the food, as plain as the hand I stared at in front of my face, walking across campus in narrow corridors of snow 12 feet high. Corridors in which our low northern sun would never shine.